welcome to the Pretty Purposeful Podcast. I'm your host, Angie Melange, alongside my beautiful co-host, Miss Candace Mabry. Hey, girl.
Hello, Miss Angie.
What is going on, girl? We are at episode 3. Can you believe it?
Already?
You guys, it just seems like just yesterday we were filming episode 1. So I'm just so proud of us. Very happy to be here today. We're actually going to be exploring the topic of boredom, loneliness, and validation. Mm-hmm. And I had came up with the acronym BLV. But, I was just thinking about it like, BLV, boredom, loneliness, and validation. Mm-hmm. I definitely wanted to drill into those topics because I feel like when we're feeling, we're experiencing those feelings, it can definitely drive us to the wrong people, situations. And so, before we dive into today's topic, how have you been?
I have been good, Angie. Again, I'm always on the road. I'm always traveling. I'm always on the go. So whenever this isn't work to me, being here with you, participating in this podcast, I feel like I'm actually making a difference, so this matters to me a lot, and I love being here. So, girl, I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy that you are here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, what I've been doing, girl, I'm just like, it's, spring break.
Right.
We're just, finishing up spring break. And so, for those of you who don't know, I have a senior. She's getting ready to graduate. And so, anybody out there who's experienced, getting their kid ready for college, it is a tedious job because so many different deadlines, so many different dues, and just a lot going on. So we're winding down. She'll be graduating next month, and so that's just kind of where my focus has been. Outside of the podcast, but
that is so exciting. So a special congratulations to you, Miss Michaela. Woo, where's my bell?
So proud of her. Yeah,
my fat bell.
Where is your bell, girl?
Okay,
we need to get out there.
Y'all, she's asleep right now too, and
we are so proud of her.
Yes.
But that's what I've been up to, and just really looking forward to future episodes. Just putting this all together, getting prepared for this episode, just really showed me how much growth we've experienced in such a short amount of time.
Sure.
Like I'm not used to having somebody that can work, that can actually match my work ethic, and so I'm just so impressed. And I mean, so much to come down the line. So, all right. So getting into this episode, the topic of today's episode is boredom, loneliness, and validation. So I can't remember. We were probably just having a regular conversation, and it just came up. And the way that, I don't know, we were just talking about like, how do people end up, in the wrong relationships, around the wrong people? And, after some reflecting, it's like usually people are bored.
Yep.
Usually you may be feeling lonely. And a lot of times it's just for validation. Loneliness can push us to entertain things that we have no business entertaining. So why do you think that is? And what can we do to prevent that from happening?
So there's many reasons, right? For one, I feel like when a person doesn't feel empty, or when a person feels empty, when a person feels empty, that will lead you to try to find anything to kind of halfway fill up your cup. It really does have something to do with self-love. And again, it goes back to purpose, right? When you don't really know your why, when you don't really have any reason to be living, or anything that wakes you up in the morning excited to live life. It's just a matter of having some type of purpose, some type of mission, some type of goals that you're working towards, right? That won't leave you feeling empty to where you'll start entertaining any and everything. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, it sounds like, just from what you said, it sounds like when you have something, worth living for, you value your life, you value your goals, and whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, you want to protect that.
Exactly.
That's what it boils down to, is really identifying what your purpose is. And once you have determined that, just really allowing that to be like a roadmap, allowing that to help you discern,
right.
is this person or is this situation align with what I have going on? Yeah, so we're going to get into it a little bit more, because I'm going to give some examples of how that plays out. and how you know, you could just be living life and, you know, with so much going on in the world, so many distractions, just so much going on, and find yourself in that situation. And we're going to talk about how you can self-correct and get out of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, it's going to get really good, y'all.
Yes.
Really good. So, Angie, when looking for connection, right, how does the digital age amplify loneliness? So I guess what I'm asking is, how does modern society push us towards seeking validation in unhealthy ways? So we're really about to start getting into the examples of what you mentioned before.
Absolutely. So I think it's like when you talk about the digital space, you know, nowadays there's just so many different platforms that, you know, you can't really escape it. You know, I just found out the other day my mom has a smart TV and has access to YouTube. And I'm like, I never thought my mom would even know what a YouTube was.
Hello?
She said, I think I have Hulu too. I said, what? So, you know, for my mom, who is like she does not do any technology, for her to have the vocabulary to speak, and I'm like, you know, it just made me realize just how much our society is dependent on social, you know, the internet and just the digital space. And so with that, we spend so much time consumed in it, right? I believe it amplifies our loneliness because of the amount of time that we're spending on there. So whenever you're, you know, logged into your social media account, you know, you can't be consumed with social media and you know, giving the person or whoever's in your presence attention. You can't do both at the same time, right? So it makes you wonder, like, how could you go to a social gathering, say, and everybody's on their phone? Like, everybody is, you know, on social media, yet you have a room full of people. Or you might be at a family gathering and everybody's on their phone. So it's just like, you know, does being around people actually, when you're lonely, does it have anything to do with, you know, people being in your physical space, or is it more of an internal thing? Because for me personally, I'm starting to notice that it seems to be that loneliness is actually internal. Basically, it doesn't matter like how many people are in your space. It's just, you know, if you feel lonely, you're gonna feel lonely regardless.
Angie, I love what you just said, because, and let me give a shout out to my sister, Alexis. Shout out to you, sis. Shout out. Me and my sister went to one of my favorite places called the Daily Beat in New Orleans, all things healthy. We were talking, right, about past relationships, and one of the things that I mentioned was, you know, Alexis, I really appreciate, you know, you not being on your phone right now.
Right.
And it's not that she's always on her phone when she communicates with me, but I just really appreciated the fact that she was there with me. Right. She wasn't distracted. And I will say, we have the deepest conversations when we are not distracted by the cell phones.
That's true.
We have developed deeper, intense conversations, and I feel like our bond has become stronger because we didn't have the distractions of the cell phone. So I appreciate you mentioning that, you know, the loneliness comes from the inside. It's internal, right? That's huge. Yeah. That's huge.
I mean, because you think about it, when you go online, you see how many people, like, just when you think, oh, nobody else is up at 2:00 in the morning online. And next thing you know, you see everybody, you know, active, or you see people posting, or it's just like, wow, if everybody is doing this, everybody's not alone. Like, everybody's not physically by themselves. You got people in the bed with their spouse. You got some people that might be in a group or at a club, or, you know, just, hey, at work.
No,
always online. So it's just like, no matter how many of us are online at the same time and connected, we're not really connected. And to me, I think that just signifies that there's an internal loneliness that people can experience. But I just think that, just like I was saying, like the amount of people that are around you, if you're driven to go online while you have someone sitting right next to you, it's like, what are you seeking? You know, is it, you know, because loneliness, obviously having someone in your physical space is not curing the loneliness, right? So and I was mentioning earlier how when I had moved to Georgia, I didn't really have much, you know, people that I knew down here besides my cousin. And so you know, I never once had a sense of feeling lonely. You know, I was just, because I like, God is with me no matter where I go, you know, God is with me. And so, but I just never felt a sense of like that loneliness. I had enough purpose to know, okay, what I'm here for, what I'm here to do. I didn't come down here to get acquainted with everybody and have a whole lot of people. You know, I had already experienced that popularity and having people around me and stuff. So it's like, But I just remember there were days when I would be in this house by myself or with my daughter, but like maybe I'm out here in the living room by myself. And I just didn't feel lonely. I just felt so at peace. And, you know, I just felt like I was where I was supposed to be. And that's the best feeling, you know. I still get that feeling here. That's why I refuse to leave. You know, I'm not in a rush to leave my current space because this is home. I've made it a safe space and a sanctuary, you know. So, yeah.
You were not lying. When I am in this awesome lady's home, it literally feels amazing. You feel the love walking through the door. I don't know what it is.
Thank you.
I know what it is. This girl has love all over her. Like her and her daughter, their relationship, it just reaps love and peace and joy. And like you said, like a sanctuary. Yeah. Like if you got negative vibes, you don't even know. You gotta stay far from here. Yeah. Because the love is, I feel it every time I walk through the door.
I was very intentional about my living space, and because again, when you are a single woman, single mom, and you have dealt with that lonely feeling and that feeling of, you know, I need somebody in my space for it to feel whole, you know, for it to feel complete. And I never had that. So I wanted to make sure that my space, you know, I felt like it reflected, you know, who I was and what was important to me. And yeah, so that's the vibe that you get when you come in here. It's saying that I don't need to have a man, or I don't need to have a lot of company in this space to feel whole. Yeah, when you are filled, you are able to pour from, you have the overflow. And that's why I feel I may not have everything that I want. I may not be exactly where I want to be, but the things that are essential and just, I don't want to say fundamental, but you know, the foundation that I can actually, you know, have set the foundation where I can invite you into my home. And when you build and you create something with intention, and you know that a person can actually like value it, can actually appreciate it, you know. So for me, it's like, yeah, that's why I do it. You know, I never knew it was going to be for Candace, you know, or didn't know I was going to be extending the invite to Candace, but I thank God that I have the ability to do that. Yeah.
I thank God too. I love it here. I really do.
This is one of those things that you don't plan, you know. I never thought, I never planned. It just, you know, it just is. It's one of those things, it just is, because I was obedient, because I've been doing everything that is aligned with my purpose. That, you know, if I had all kind of drama and all kind of people in my life that wasn't supposed to be in my life, how do you know, then you welcome someone in your space and it's not about them, you know, receiving from the overflow. Then it becomes like a codependent, negative, you know. I've been there. That's why I said, like, I do not, I mean, yeah, this space here is very sacred. Yeah.
So can we talk about codependency really quick? I don't know the exact definition, but do you mind explaining what is codependency?
So codependency is, I mean, it can show up in different ways. It can manifest in family relationships. It can manifest in friendships. It can manifest in romantic relationships. But essentially, it is two individuals that aren't really clear about their individual purpose, but just like, it's almost like a coping mechanism, you know? I've been there. I'm just thinking back to some of the relationships I've been in that were codependent. And it's like, the needs might be different, but it's not healthy. Like, they're not really elevating, if you will. The actual codependency is keeping, you know, like if one person is codependent on someone who might not be codependent, then the person who is allowing that codependent person to I guess, benefit from the relationship, they would be an enabler, right? It's an enabler, codependent kind of relationship, right? But if you have two people who are codependent, well, that's a really bad situation because sometimes they don't even realize that they're codependent. It could be, you might have a, let's say, I don't know, again, the boredom, the loneliness, and the validation, it can lead people to codependent type of relationships. Because now they're dependent on people to fulfill the need, the loneliness, fulfill the validation, fulfill the
boredom. If we were live and we could do a poll and see how many people think that they're in a codependent relationship, like I would love to see that, because I'm just talking for myself. I think I might have even been in a codependent relationship. I was pretty much the one relying on my partner to make me happy, in a sense, right? Because I didn't know exactly. I knew I wanted to, I want to go to college. I know I want to be in HR, but it's like, okay, what else do you want to do with your life? Right. And I knew, and I tend to do this and I remember with the person I was in a relationship with, one of the first questions I asked them was, okay, what are you going to do with your life? What are you planning on doing? He wanted to be a pilot. He said, I want to be a philanthropist. I want to go to Africa and make it a better place. And I was just like, right. You want to do all those things? Yeah. That's pretty exciting. Yes. And so I don't know if this relates to being codependent, but I literally was like, oh, he has great dreams. Yeah. I don't have dreams that big, but I definitely want to support him. Wow. And getting to that. Right. And my focus went from, of course, from me to him. And all right, I'm going to just sit here and not like I'm going to just sit here and wait for you to do it, but it took the focus off of, hey, Candace. And he reminded me of the fact that, hey, you got a life to live as well. I'm out here doing my thing, but you need to also have a vision for your life as well. Right. So, yeah, I'm so happy we're talking about codependency because it can definitely lead you off track.
Let's say you have a spouse or a boyfriend or something, like in your situation. It could be a situation where this person is like very, how can I say it? I don't want to say independent, but very self-sufficient, right? Yep. From the outside looking in, this person may have everything together financially. They may have, they just may, how can I say, they may not appear to be vulnerable to where they would need somebody for anything, right? But it can show up in a way where your presence in their life, like you might be a project for them. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be a codependency. Codependency can show up that way too, where a person who is, let's say, wealthy, but let's say maybe they need the validation from being a savior to someone, right? Or it could be a situation where like the trauma bonding. That was, I used to get caught up in a trauma bonding situation because it's like, but we ain't going nowhere. Neither one of us are growing. We just ruminating in our trauma and not really moving forward. But that's when you don't have purpose. You don't look at you don't look at the relationship holistically, And I was telling Candace, like when I first moved to Georgia, some of the first connections that I made were at karaoke, or open mics, because I sing. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, these are my people because they love music like me. And so, but that didn't mean that they was meant to be my friends. It didn't mean that they were supposed to be in my private life. And I did that before I moved to Georgia, so I should have known better, but I'm thinking this is a new state, it's different, culture. So it's just funny how I allowed that same lesson. I had to learn that lesson again. It was very clear after that my purpose now, where I am today, I can go to karaoke. I can make friends, or not friends, but karaoke buddies. Yes. And let it be just that. Yes. And enjoy them in that space. Not try to welcome them into my world or what I got going on. And that's why I said, like, when I met Candace, it was so organic because we both were mission and purpose driven, and so that's everything that we do in our life is centered around that purpose. Like because we have that purpose, no matter what we're doing, what space we're in, it just doesn't go away, right? It's who we are, and being able to know what our purpose is and what motivates and drives us, it definitely helps you to know who should be around you and who shouldn't, you know, a lot quicker.
A lot quicker.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you knew what your purpose was at a young age, or did you develop into it as you got older?
I definitely developed as I got older. It became more clear. And I will say I always loved helping people. That's something that was always with me.
Me too. I need you to. Me too.
I always was very empathetic before I even knew what the word empathy meant. I was always just very caring because I just knew what it felt like to be mistreated. I knew what it felt like to be excluded. And so whenever any space that I went into, I always was like the peacemaker, the advice giver. And I was a people pleaser, you know, and that's not healthy, but I just wanted to make people happy, you know. Mm-hmm. That was my purpose. And then I found out that being people pleaser is not healthy. It's not good for me.
Right.
Because then it can create these false expectations of how people should reciprocate. And sometimes like, no, you put yourself in that situation, right? So as I, you know, matured and lived life, it became clear. I started to understand that the purpose is not stagnant. It's not just one thing. It's just really your intentionality in whatever you're doing. You could, like, as a mom, I'm very purposeful in you know, that role. I take, like, the purpose in that is to make sure that I'm raising my daughter to the best of my ability. So that is a purpose in and of itself, but that purpose then will help me to not make certain decisions, not be with certain people. If certain people do slip up into my space, maybe they were masking or not being who they were, you know, but it's like once you identify it, you don't feel attached, like you don't feel codependent because they were never in your space because you had like needed them like that. Right. So it's a lot easier to just part ways. That's why I was telling you, some of the people that I had met from karaoke since I've been in Georgia, I've been able to just kind of like fade, you know, just kind of distance myself peacefully and, you know, without any hard feelings or fallouts, because it was literally my purpose that was driving me to do that.
Yes. I hope y'all karaoke members not watching.
Hey, if I see them out, when I see them out, that's the crazy thing. I can still see them out, and it's all good. I still follow some of them online.
Yes.
So it's no hard feelings. It's just that
I'm just playing.
I brought them in. I brought them into my space that they were not supposed to really be in the space, and tried to force them to see all of me. And I just realized, no, when you're following your purpose, you know, the people who are meant to see you will, and the ones that are going to show up and you have, how can I articulate this? The relationship or the bond is sustainable because the thing that ties you, but the bond is the purpose. That's not going anywhere. It doesn't go away. It's not superficial. You know, karaoke's fun. I don't want to say it's superficial, but it definitely draws any and everybody.
Ooh. So I hope I didn't interrupt you.
You're good.
But you just made me reminisce on back in college when friends that I had in elementary school, I used to be close to a lot of people in elementary school, quite a few. Mm-hmm. And we gradually grew apart, and I used to have I would call them very sad dreams in college because I would be missing them. Mm-hmm. Literally have dreams of my elementary school friends in college. And what you said gives me even peace right now to know that, you know, the people that are in your circle are people that you want to be in your circle. Like the whole quote that you can't really choose your family, but you can choose your family. Like you can't choose your family. Girl, help me out.
You can't choose your relatives, but you can choose your family.
Thank you.
Yes.
You don't get to choose your relatives, but you can choose your family. So it's okay that, you know, you don't still have those relationships from the past. I've even had conversations with my sister about it. She's like, man, I'm really missing, you know, friends that I used to hang out with in the past. And it's like, sometimes it's okay to move on. Yeah. It's, you know, depending on your purpose, where you want to intentionally see yourself. Sometimes everybody's not going to fit that scope. That's and right. That is okay.
Yeah. And sometimes those relationships don't last because you literally, it's either you have to choose between that relationship, which could actually like prevent you from growing. You come to a point where you really do have to make a decision. I think everybody that's matured and everybody that is purpose driven at some point had to like draw the lines and say, okay, this relationship is no longer serving me. I can't juggle both, you know. And it's not that you don't love that person, you don't respect or care about them, you just realize that you're not able to bring them along on this path that you're getting ready to go on. And you know, it's tough, but that is part of growth, and that's a part of just maturing in general. That is like a huge sign of maturity, is when you're able to make those decisions. The people now, they may not necessarily understand why you did it, but if they mature, they'll be able to reflect back and say, oh, I understand now why she, you know, if she would have stayed around me, she wouldn't be doing what she's doing. Yeah. If they never get to that point, well, hey, that's on them. That ain't my fault. I wish growth and elevation for everyone.
Everybody.
Anybody. And then when you're around the wrong people too, for the wrong reasons, because you know, if you're not purpose driven and you're just kind of drifting, a lot of times that's when you get caught up in mess.
Ooh.
That's when you're making decisions. You like, why did I do that? Why was I there? Like, I can think back to so many times, so many spaces. I'm like, why was I in that location with those people? How did I get there? Literally. And if you don't call yourself out on it and you know, hold yourself accountable, you will keep repeating
the same thing. Okay. I gotta share this because it's so relevant. I was talking to this guy and I was talking to this guy. We ended up hanging out, and it got to the point to where he was like, "Hey, so what do you want?" And I couldn't answer him. I couldn't answer him, and when he asked me, I was just like, yeah, I gotta go. Because I definitely don't need to be here.
Ooh.
Yeah, gotta go.
That was clear, right? That was clear.
It was very clear.
Wow.
But it strung out to me so strong because, yeah.
It just didn't align.
It did not align. And he literally asked me, so what do you want? I'm like, not this,
right?
Because this is not it.
I can relate. So knowing your purpose, Candace, it isn't just about direction. It's really about protection. Remember, I was saying earlier that once you become aware of what your purpose is, it's just like a dream. You have to protect it at all costs, right? So you become very aware of who you have around and what you're doing. So that was actually something we were actually going to start talking about. We were going to talk about the role that having a purpose plays in, you know, determining who you allow in your life. So based on your experience, how much do you feel that impacts your decision to let people in your life?
A great amount. Is very important. And this is where the test of loneliness kicks in. Because even in college, I felt alone a lot, especially my freshman year, when I was really just trying to find my I don't want to say clique, but my group of friends, because everyone else that, you know, I met there, they pretty much had their group, you know, their cliques, their group of people, you know. I hear some of my friends say, you know, there was the smart girls, there were the pretty girls, there was the sorority girls, there was the athletic girls. It almost sounds like high school, but even in college, you're trying to find your way through, you know, different people and find your people. And I ended up finding my people later. I would say more so maybe sophomore, junior, senior year, because I knew what I wanted to do and I knew what I wasn't really about to entertain. Mm-hmm. You know, the drinking, the partying and all of that, that wasn't really a hobby for me. Right. So really just finding people that were like-minded, mm-hmm. which was kind of hard.
But the clearer you are on your purpose, like the more, and that's why we were saying, like, you don't just have just one purpose. Just being purpose driven in mm-hmm. general means that you're someone who's always going to seek to have purpose in what it is that you're doing. Because right. if you don't have purpose, if you don't set an intention, then you leave yourself open to allowing whatever is going on to dictate, you know, what you do. Yes. It's like what you've heard the term drifters, you know, people who drift in the world are people who don't have purpose. And it doesn't mean you have to have a singular purpose. Oh like, no, a purpose just means in everything that you do, you know why you're doing it. Bells. Rock the bell. Baby. Yes. Like if you don't have purpose, like that means you will just be allowing life to, you know, instead of you living life, life is happening to you. And so yeah. And I'm so happy that this podcast is so centered on purposeful living, because to me, I just think that's truly the way to, like, when you say living your best life, living my best life. Hey, ain't going back and forth with you. Listen, living your best life is literally knowing why you're living life, that why. And it's not just a singular thing. It literally is in the purpose of Candace and I's partnership in this is because we want to help others. Because we have talent and we can actually support one another and we can actually collaborate and create something even better that either one of us could have ever done alone. There's purpose in that, right? So like at work, like it just literally, you could just, and I encourage you, if you're watching this and you haven't considered, start looking at the different areas of your life, you know, your home life, your work life, your social life, and start asking yourself, how much of it have you been intentional and how much of it has just happened just because, just happened to you, happenstance. Yeah. And so, I mean, you can't control everything, right? But if you know why you're going into a situation or a relationship or whatever, it just allows you to bounce back quicker. Whatever happens to you, you don't get stuck in it. You don't get stuck because you still have that purpose that's driving you.
Oh my gosh. I need something louder than a bell. This is not going to do it. Where is the explosives? I need the confetti.
Yes. Girl.
Can you repeat? Look, I need you to repeat that one. No, but this is the power of your mind, the power of your belief. Because if you believe that your purpose is nothing but cow poop, then your life is going to look like cow poop.
The smell of it too.
And smell like it too. And attract the flies that like to be on it.
Girl, listen, you better say that. Exactly.
So I'm so grateful that you shared that, because you just shed light on the fact that, yeah, you really got to have a bigger picture. A bigger picture.
Absolutely. Intention. It just keeps coming back to intention. And I remember Iyanla, I don't know if you remember, like she used to always say, set an intention. I just remember hearing her videos, and that's like her phrase is like, set an intention. Think about that. Set an intention. You can do that literally in everything that you do. If I'm going to go take the garbage out, I can set an intention that if I walk into and I see one of my neighbors on the way to take my garbage out, that I'm going to speak. Because I'm being purposeful in that. I'm not just taking the garbage out. Now I'm being aware of my surroundings. Now I may just bless somebody's day by speaking to them. Yes. It's just that simple, you know? But it's really, you know, how can I say it? There are going to be moments where you don't set an intention, or I'm not going to say can't, but depending on the circumstances, your mind may not be there. But when you just do it all the time, it becomes second nature. You just always want to find the purpose in what you're doing. Like if a neighbor invites me over their house, first thing I'm going to be thinking, do I know this person? Is it, I ain't going to necessarily say is it aligned with my purpose, but at the bare minimum, I'm a mom. Do I want to go to this neighbor's house? I've never been to this neighbor's house before. I don't really know what this neighbor gets into. I don't know the purpose of why this neighbor is inviting me. Now, if they said, hey, I want you to come over. We're going to have a meeting, a community meeting. We're going to talk about what's going on in our community. And we just want to kind of start like a tenant, whatever, resident committee. Okay, there's purpose. Yeah. There's purpose. Okay, I'm going to go to my neighbor's house because I'm going there with an intention to be involved in this community, residential, whatever. But if my neighbor just asked me to come over and there's no purpose, you're not giving just to come over? No, that can lead to me drinking. That could lead to there be smoking. That could lead to somebody might be fighting. It could lead to me being harassed.
I'm telling you.
It might lead to me fighting somebody.
I'm telling you.
I might have to fight.
And we don't want that.
like I don't know them people. Their people might not like you.
Yeah.
Because there's no purpose. Now, think about that. Why would a person just go to their neighbor's house if they just invited them? Maybe because they're bored. Maybe because they're lonely. Or maybe because they need validation. Oh, my neighbor invited me over, validates that I'm somebody here. They see me. My neighbors see me. Or maybe not everybody in the neighborhood is getting the invite, but because you're getting the invite, it can stroke your ego and make you feel like, you see how that is?
I do see how it is, and it's a slippery slope.
So that's why we wanted to do this episode, was to really focus on those things: boredom, loneliness, and validation, because so many of the people that we engage with, so many of the social events that we attend, a lot of times we don't really do like that check and balance. It's just sometimes we're just going off of emotion, like, oh, I ain't been out in a long time. There goes boredom. I ain't been out in a long time.
Hello? And good and well, you set the intention to not drink for the next 30 days.
Right.
And now you over here sipping about 12 cans of beer.
Just completely forgot all about it. You sacrificed your purpose. You sacrificed what you wanted to do, what you had planned to do. But because you weren't maybe clear on your purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like overall, because there has to be a higher, like that, what you mentioned as far as that's a personal goal, right?
Right.
For somebody to, stop drinking.
Right.
But if that is not tied to a greater purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe the greater purpose, maybe the reason why they want to stop drinking is because they want to get a better job, because they want to be a better father or whatever. Or I'm thinking it's a man. But but that's got to be tied to the bigger purpose. That's the bigger purpose, like the goal, because that's the thing that you need to be thinking about when you're being invited to the party. Because you could be like, okay, I'm not supposed to be drunk. I know I'm not supposed to be drinking. I shouldn't go. But why are you not? What is the purpose? Why are you not drinking? There's a purpose behind that goal.
Hello.
So that's the thing that should be determined. I can't even speak. Should be the determining factor.
Amen.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Yes, it absolutely is. So Angie, we know that setting boundaries is very crucial for any healthy relationship, right? And this is something that we want to stand on, especially when we're trying to remain true to ourselves, right? So how have you set boundaries when it comes to friends and even dating?
Well, I do want to just start by saying that I didn't always have boundaries, and I'm finding out that a lot of people, especially within our community, don't know a thing about boundaries, don't really learn. It's almost like a trial and error thing. Like you literally have to repeat lessons in order to realize it's because you didn't have boundaries in place. So I was not taught about boundaries, which is why as a mother, I've talked to my daughter about boundaries. I've explained what they are, you know, why they are important and how to establish them. And I think that that's something that as parents we ought to do. Once we realize that, hey, this was something that I was not equipped with, we should be very intentional about sharing that with our kids, because they ain't gonna learn it in school. And just that basic fundamental concept of setting boundaries will save them so many heartaches, so much drama, so much pain, right?
Yes.
So with that being said, I would say I started setting boundaries after my daughter was born. Her life, protecting her life, another human being, is when I really first started setting boundaries, because I realized like my decisions impact her directly. So, you know, if somebody's asking me for money, nope, let me check with the baby. Nope, looks like I'm gonna need my money for my baby. Okay. So that's how I was able to set that boundary. And it was like the reason behind setting the boundary was, again, to protect my daughter, to protect, you know, overall, to protect my quality of life, right? And that's what it boils down to. So how it shows up, like with family, setting boundaries, again, never had any boundaries, which leads to people pleasing, and not just in families, but in all relationships. If you don't have boundaries, you 9 times out of 10, you are people pleasing. But when you establish, like, for instance, in my family, I had to set a boundary with a relative who I was helping financially. I'm not gonna put them out there who they are, but I'll just say, but because they were used to me helping, they became dependent on me. And so at first it didn't click. So I continued to, you know, give them money every time they needed it, because I love them and I didn't want to see them without. I didn't want to see them without a phone or without food. But then I start to realize, like, every time I gave this person money, I would also give them like a little, you know, advice on how to, you know, I just wanted to give them something other than money. I knew that they needed the money, but I was trying to set them up for success so that this wouldn't be a recurring situation.
Absolutely.
But because I continued to give the money, they continued to ask. So then that's when I realized I had to set the boundary. If I did not set the boundary, they were going to continue to ask. So it became a situation where I had to say no, and it wasn't easy. But my no was more of a push to get them to become more responsible, more self-sufficient, right? So that's one example of how in a family situation. Another is not sharing too much of my personal business, right? Because back in the day, I could be going through drama with, you know, maybe who I was dating at the time, or even drama within my friends, and, you know, I would just talk to my family and just share that with no purpose whatsoever, other than just, you know, what they say, spilling the tea.
Yep.
Just needing to talk, but there was no purpose behind it. Because if I would have been purposeful in talking about it, I would have talked to a therapist. I would have talked to a friend who was maybe older, mature, wiser. But just talking to somebody who also has similar situations, it's trauma bonding. And when you don't have those boundaries, then those individuals then feel entitled to know your business all the time. If you don't tell them something, then now they're taking it personal.
Whoa.
Right. And then when it comes to dating, an example I can think of is like when you first meet somebody, and if somebody's just repeatedly texting you or repeatedly calling you, you have to set those boundaries. And early in my life, I didn't have those boundaries. And so I would let a person literally call me all they wanted to, and I was just always there to answer. And or if they wanted to take me out, you know, no matter if I had something going on with my friends, I would be like, okay, y'all, I gotta go. Didn't have a boundary because I didn't have the purpose behind it. Like, why would I be telling this person no? Well, this person did not earn the ability to dictate what you do. And, you know, how do they become immediately more important than your friends or your family? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So setting boundaries, it is definitely something that has to be done with purpose and intention.
A question that I have for you in regards to validation, when it comes to people pleasing, Do you think a main part of people pleasing is you just wanting to be validated as a good person?
I think that if we didn't know the term people pleasing, I think a lot of people who have that innately would still do that. Mm-hmm. But I think because the term people pleasing has been defined as something that's not healthy for the individual, because it's not really serving. I think if that term had never been created, or the concept, that many more people would continue to do it, and to their own detriment, right? Because they genuinely, a lot of people who people please are doing it from their heart. They genuinely want to help others, or please others, make people happy. But then when you realize that there are people out there who seek out people like that so that they can prey on, or so that they can take advantage of, then now it's like, you could be as genuine as you want to be. You could be doing something as, pure as you want it to be.
Yep.
But that will, to somebody else who is the opposite of that, who's like a manipulator, who likes to take advantage, that will just allow them to spot you a lot quicker.
Yes.
And that's where it becomes toxic. I'm telling you, it becomes toxic because you then are not even realizing, you're thinking you're just doing what you want to do from your heart.
Hello.
And somebody is literally plotted on you. It's happened to me so many times in my life, but only when I didn't have a purpose. And now having a purpose, I still have encountered people like that.
Yep.
But I'm able to recover from, disassociating myself with them. I don't feel like a loss. I don't feel like, oh, I lost my best friend, or, oh, I lost this guy, or whatever the situation was. I don't feel that it's a loss. I feel like it's a gain that I was able to walk away from that, like, whew,
Whoa.
Self-esteem can also tie into the need for validation. And especially when we talk about people pleasing, definitely low self-esteem is connected to that. And I think that sometimes we may not even identify that we have low self-esteem, but it shows up in the things that we allow and permit. As you allow people to take advantage, or if you allow people to, if you don't value setting boundaries, that is a sign. Because it's one thing to not know what a boundary is. It's one thing to not know why we need a boundary, because we're all young. We were all young. We all had to learn. We all had to grow, whether we were taught about boundaries or life taught us about boundaries.
Right.
But once you know and you still don't set them boundaries, now that could possibly be low self-esteem. So I just want to point that out, that not having boundaries after you know the importance of a boundary. Okay, that right there, that definitely. That is a huge sign of someone who may have low self-esteem. And because of that, a lot of times that can lead to a person feeling desperate, okay? That loneliness, right? It's the emptiness, you're trying to fill yourself up with these external things, right? And, that ties to low self-esteem. So with that said, how do we begin the process of self-discovery and self-appreciation?
One, I would say, really take the time to appreciate who you are. And I mean, if you have 5 minutes to just sit down and just meditate on how awesome it is that you even exist in this day and time.
Yes.
How much of a miracle it is that you're even alive. Yeah. Do you know how many different scenarios could have happened to where you couldn't have been here? It is absolutely a miracle that we are here. Amen. In this place. Amen. Today.
Yes.
If you look at your hands, I might start acting a little weird or saying some crazy stuff, but to those that understand me, you understand. But appreciating your eyesight, your sense of smell, your taste, your hands, your feet, you're able to move and get to where you need to go. Everything is very important. So one, appreciating who you are is crucial when it comes to self-appreciation or even self-discovery, because you have a greater love of your life. Yeah. 2, I would say you definitely want to monitor your thoughts and challenge them. So on your journey to self-discovery and trying to figure out who you are, again, it goes back to meditating. And I'm talking to myself as I'm saying this out loud. Yes. Meditating, and I'm not a big fan of journaling because I don't currently do it often, but I need to. But I see why so many people say to journal, because you're actually able to read what's going on in here. And hopefully you'll be able to see the root causes of what you are thinking. Maybe some root limiting beliefs will be spelled out in what you are journaling. And I have journaled from time to time, and I don't even really want to go back to read some of the journals that I've written because they were so heavy.
Yes, girl.
But you definitely want to monitor your thoughts and try to take heed and hone in on the ones that work out for your good. Don't focus or try to believe the thoughts that aren't really serving you, right? So, yeah, I hope that answered
that was a really great, I mean, I love the way that you broke that down, because I think a lot of times we don't really even realize that that's a process that is necessary. Like my thing is I'm I'm appreciating words, because you know, how can you learn something if you can't identify, you know, what it is? So I love learning new concepts and frameworks. And so that's why, you know, this platform, we're trying to share this with the everyday person, that, you know, this may be new information to some of you that are watching. And that's what we hope, that, you know, that the information that we're sharing with you all will help you to start reflecting and start, you know, as you're, you know, going through life, just starting to realize those moments of, you know, elevation or a lesson. When you learn it, you're able to apply it, you know, because when you're on the journey of discovering yourself, it becomes, okay, how many things have I encountered already, and what have I already learned, and how can I start to apply that? Because it's one thing to have to go, yeah, it's one thing to go through the situation and go through the lesson, but when you actually start holding yourself accountable to reflecting, to self-reflecting on what did you learn from that, and how can you apply that to the future? How, you know, that right there that's self-discovery. That's honoring yourself. And that also, again, when it comes to tying that into being purpose-driven, you definitely have to go within before you can serve anybody else really, you know, wholeheartedly. You have to be on that journey of discovering yourself with purpose, on purpose, for a greater purpose. Right? So you may start with this one small purpose, but it all contributes to something greater. And so even if that purpose starts out as, I want to start honoring myself and start discovering who I truly am, there's purpose behind that, because there's more for you to do. There's more ways for you to show up, you know? Gosh. Yeah. Yeah, when I think about it, I'm like, I never knew what a self-discovery was. It just was something that it happened. I'm just to a place now where I can look back and say, I'm still on the journey of self-discovery. Me too. We are all on a journey of self-discovery. But it's beautiful to be able to reflect back and have those moments where you're like, okay, I got that. Okay, I understand why that happened now. I understand what I was supposed to learn from that. And when you start to apply it, I believe that those things that you learn from those lessons are the things that help you maintain your boundaries, protect your purpose. It be those things that you learned. It literally is the things that you've learned that end up being like the pillars of your, you know, like the, essentially like the pillars of your purpose. Yeah. Everything works out for your good. Amen. Amen. It does. It really does. It really does. It's one thing to hear that, but when you actually are living that and you know that to be true, that's a beautiful feeling. It really is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It really is. So y'all be intentional so you can see the fruit of what being intentional will bring. All right. So Angie, the moment you accept yourself, right, is the moment that you truly honor yourself. So what has it been like, or how has your journey of self-acceptance been for you?
Yeah, so for me, self-acceptance, it has not been a walk in the park. I can tell you that. I would say, even as recent as a few years ago, there were still parts of me that I was just starting to accept. I would say it took me the longest to really accept myself because, like, just me being mixed and growing up in my Black family, I always, felt comfortable identifying as Black, because that's all I knew. But I didn't realize that it offended people, including my own family. Okay. And so how could I accept myself when I just never felt accepted? Yeah. So that journey for me, even just like I said, recently within the last few years, I've become very clear on my identity. I embrace now the fact that I'm mixed. It's not something that I, can control. But I love me and I love acknowledging all of me, because the more, if I have to acknowledge all of me, I can't expect other people to accept me if I don't accept me.
Hello.
So yeah, and unfortunately it took for a really, traumatic situation to wake me up and realize, I'm gonna tell you what it is. So I mentioned in the last episode about being wrongfully terminated.
Yes.
Y'all, I was wrongfully terminated because of somebody having a problem with me being mixed. And it started with, them expressing disdain for mixed people who try to speak on behalf of Black people. And of course, me personally growing up with a Black mother, Black aunts, grandmothers, like, I completely felt comfortable being able to speak on behalf of the Black community. But I think the issue was, even when I learned that this person had felt some type of way about mixed people, I still wasn't really clear on my identity. I wouldn't say okay, but I wasn't embracing it. I was still trying to fit the mold of your light-skinned Black woman. You just happen to be mixed. You just happen to have a Puerto Rican granddad.
Yes.
But the woman who treated me and she harassed me, they basically started like covert harassment, bullying me, ostracizing me on the job. She was also a Black woman, but she was a light-skinned Black woman. So for the first time in my life, I had experienced like discrimination from another person that looked like me, like she just light as me.
Right.
But in that space, we were the only light-skinned women amongst a staff of Black people. So I'm pretty sure before I had joined that organization, she was probably treated a certain type of way, right? And then me coming on board and having the Hispanic last name and being the other, she made sure that everybody knew that I was the other. As she had made some comments about what I had mentioned about, now she said that in front of the whole entire like management team, and I was still fairly new. But long story short, the bullying, harassment, all that stuff ended up leading up to me being wrongfully terminated. That was what she intended. And if she ever sees this video, you know who you are. I forgive you, but I pray that hopefully you will never do that to anybody else, and hopefully you learn to love yourself, that you can occupy the same space as a mixed person and not feel some type of way, or feel the need to try to dehumanize me so that you can feel included. But basically, after that situation, it took for another light-skinned woman to treat me that way, to be like, okay, well, you used to be treated a certain way by more melanated Black people because you're light-skinned. But to have a light-skinned person totally like try to exclude you, that was a wake-up call for me, y'all. I had to really dig deep and look into, okay, you identify as Black, you are light-skinned, you are melanated, you just have a little deficiency, but you also are mixed, and there's a part of you that you have not been proud of. I had Black pride. I did not have like the pride of being Puerto Rican because I didn't grow up in that culture. I didn't know much about it. I don't speak Spanish fluently. But even that, I'm not just Black. I'm not just Puerto Rican. I am something completely different. And I need to accept that I'm a mixture of both and embrace both and walk in that. And so from that experience, it literally forced me to really accept that I was mixed and to be bold and proud it doesn't change my love for the Black community. It doesn't change the love for, you know, the Hispanic community. Even though I don't know much about the Hispanic community, I do know and love the fact that my grandfather was from Puerto Rico. I love knowing that when I go to Puerto Rico that I actually have some roots there. So I did, you know, I embrace it now. And I also had to realize that I wasn't aware that me being proud to be Black was offending people. Yeah. So once I realized that, become aware of that, now that I'm aware of it, now I'm going to move accordingly. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be in denial about it, but that was new information for me. And I took that information and I used it to empower myself in who I am and to accept me. So I completely love being a mixed girl. I'm a mixed Black girl. I'm a mixed Puerto Rican girl. Listen, I'm just mixed. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. I love it. I love the fact that I can be a part of both, and I can actually be a bridge between those communities. Yeah.
Angie, I'm so happy you shared that. And it just shows that, oh my gosh, y'all, like, people left and right are just threatened by your existence of you just being you. And it's like, it just shows where the self-love really needs to be embedded into the community hard. Because like you said, if you don't accept you, how in the world can you expect others to accept you? Because what you're reaping out, you know, bees don't come to vinegar, they come to honey. Yep. So if you out here just being bitter and mean because you're not happy with yourself, honey, let's go take a course on self-love.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too about that situation was, like, for, again, another light-skinned woman, I'm thinking to myself, well, she has to know that I can relate to, you know, being treated a certain type of way. So why would she want to, like, completely dehumanize me? Like, I'm mixed, but I just know nothing. Like, and it's just like, wow, if I were in her shoes, her being a light-skinned African-American woman, she was not happy with being light-skinned. You could just tell, because the fact that you would actually you would subject somebody to discrimination and treat them unfairly based on something they can't control. It's just like, wow, you really probably are not happy and have not accepted being light-skinned. If you're anybody that's watching right now who is light-skinned and is African-American and identifies as Black, I'm not talking about nobody mixed. I'm talking about you absolutely are just have fair complexion. Like, I really pray that you learn to accept yourself and don't allow the negative comments that may have been made or the experiences that you've had make you not accept yourself, because you were going to overcompensate so much to try to be accepted by the Black community or by your, you know, more melanated family and, you know, or friends. And you don't have to do that. The same as our, you know, melanated. You know, this is the same thing. It works the same way. When you really accept yourself and just appreciate the beauty of your melanated skin, that you don't have to put the focus on somebody else or point out the difference in someone else's skin complexion, because it's irrelevant. Like, it's beautiful. We all are beautiful. There's such a beautiful spectrum of hues in the Black community, Black and brown communities. And that's not to exclude any of our, you know, our white or our Italian or whatever they identify. What we're trying to say is that they also too there's a lesson there for them as well, because they have to love the skin. And I'm talking to now my white counterparts out there. You have to accept your skin that you're in as well, because then you won't be going around trying to dehumanize or trying to, you know, make melanated people feel less than. So it's a lesson for all of us. Left and right. Self-acceptance is so key. Like, literally, it really is. You won't be hating people, treating people differently if you really have self-acceptance. Yeah. We talked about, like, protecting our purpose and protecting our dream. And basically authenticity can be like a shield for all of that, right? The truer you are to yourself, the less, you know, less likely you're going to end up in the wrong places with the wrong people. So tell me, how does embracing your authenticity change your approach to boredom, loneliness, and validation?
Ooh, sticking to who I am and what I believe in, I think has helped me dodge many bullets, many unforeseen bullets that could have damaged my life. Wow. Okay. Now, I always have heard this, I would say from my parents, from friends, that what God has for you, it is for you. Yeah. So whenever you try to step outside of your lane, be someone that you're not, just because you try not to be lonely or you need validation, you missing the prize of what God has for you because you out here acting like not
you better preach. You better get a word, people a word. Oh my goodness. Wow.
No, but seriously, if you really believe that what God has for you, it is for you. Even if, okay, let's say,
but not if you ain't being who you is.
Not if you're not being who you are.
And you might have people be having stuff, but it ain't theirs. They had to rob, cheat, and lie to get it. And it don't last. It ain't sustainable. It wasn't theirs to begin with.
The fact that you said it doesn't last, it doesn't sustain, that's huge.
That's a major lesson right there. Like, y'all, I hope y'all caught that. Like, that's so real. We think about, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, please.
Like, you know, you just think about the people you might see on social media and like just in the world, it seemed like they're just thriving and successful. We don't know on the back end what they did to acquire that.
Hello?
But a lot of times when we end up seeing things fall apart, things crumble, you're like, okay, they weren't really being true to who they are. And if they had been and been patient and waited on God and got what was for them, but some people don't want to be patient. Some people don't, unfortunately, trust that what God has for them is for them. So they want to take, they want to cheat, lie, steal, you know, and, you know, again, it's just like that there's a huge lesson in that about trusting in God and knowing that it's key. God might have something for you, but if you are not showing up as you are not going to get it.
Amen.
But it's there. It is there waiting. I mean, it's literally.
Angie, it's hard. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna whine right now. I'm gonna go ahead and whine.
You playing devil's advocate?
I'm gonna go ahead and be a crybaby. Okay. But sometimes it really is hard to do what is right. There's a quote. There's a quote that says, "Do what is right, not what is easy." So when I say, Angie, it's hard sometimes to believe that what God has for me is for me. I have this sugar daddy over here willing to give me whatever I want if he just gets some sugar. And it's like, it's not, hold on, I ain't talking about myself because I'm not out here giving sugar away. But I'm just using that as an example. Yeah. You know, it is so easy to do the wrong, quote unquote, wrong thing.
Yeah, but think about it though. If a person is, I'm not judging anybody that has a sugar daddy, okay? Do you, okay? But can you have a sugar daddy and be purposeful? I mean, personally, I just feel that I'm not going to say you can't, but if you're intentional about your life and how you're showing up in the world, you have to weigh, how is having a sugar daddy going to affect my ability to fully show up in this walk that I'm, you know, this purpose that I have? How does this sugar daddy's involvement in my life? Is it low vibrational? Like when I'm with sugar daddy, am I vibrating at my highest, or is it?
Okay.
Because then you have to really weigh what you value more. Do you value the money, the gifts that you're getting from the sugar daddy, or do you value your walk and your purpose in your life and what you're supposed to be doing while you're here on this earth?
Now we're talking, because that's what I was going to hit you with. Is some people just they think the reason why I'm with the sugar daddy is for the money. Hello,
not even thinking.
Yeah, that is the purpose. The purpose is to get money, get money. African, take my money. Bloody good. I don't know what. Take my money. Like, yeah, that is purpose. We talked about some of the African men that we've dated, they all about the money.
The money, and they will give you their money.
Money.
But then, like I said, if a person just isn't purpose driven, then you reapeth what you soweth. So if you are out there and you are valuing this sugar daddy, you know, spending money, or maybe you may not just have one sugar daddy. Maybe that might just be your lifestyle. Like you just like get money. Hey, that's my purpose. But then when you have those moments of self-reflection and you realize that, wow, I really just been giving myself to these people just to get money. And you're seeing other people that are living wholesome lives and don't have to do that have money or fulfilling certain things that like you may want to do, but the way that you're living, it doesn't align with that. And you could try, don't get me wrong. We see it on the ground all the time. People who are perpetrating a certain lifestyle, but really they don't really have it. You know, again, it's not sustainable. And I hate that. Like, I hate to even bring this up, but there was a young lady that had a credit repair business, and she had, I don't know if you heard about her name was Ashley Grayson.
No, I haven't heard of her.
Oh my gosh, girl. So she just recently got convicted of a murder for hire plot. And it was because she started out online with a credit repair business. I think she was from Baltimore. She moved from Baltimore to like Texas after she got her settlement.
Okay.
And again, I don't know if she had like been in credit repair before then, but long story short, she was flashing all of this material stuff. I mean, you a millionaire now? You just got $1 million settlement. That's a lot of freaking money for a person who don't got no kids. I think she might have been married at the time. She ended up divorcing her first husband. But long story short, she gets online taunting this lifestyle and, you know, promoting this lifestyle of designer this and trips here and there and telling people that she is able to do that because she sold credit repair. Now, she's just a young Black lady. Like, I mean, I think when she was first started out, she was like in her maybe late 20s because she's still like a 30-something. I don't know her. She might be like your age. But so I think she started like in her like mid-20s. So everybody's looking at her like, oh, she's doing
well with
like,
her credit repair business.
Right. She has everybody thinking, again, that her way of, you know, doing business. So of course she starts selling courses. So she started really making money. She really, and I mean, they said this girl had made like, I can't remember I don't want to lie, but it was a significant amount of money in like 40 minutes. I can't remember. It was like a lot of money. It might have even been another million, whatever the case. This girl ended up being like a multi-millionaire within the last 5 years. Within the last 5 years, this young lady has become a multi-millionaire. Now, the how she became the millionaire, that selling the courses, creating the content, creating the material, building up her following, putting in the efforts for marketing, paying for marketing, that she did. She invested the money that she got from her settlement. Whole time, she never mentioned nothing to her audience about the accident. The murder for hire thing came about because some guy that she had dated, he knew that her finger was messed up. He knew. So he was kind of like a threat to her brand. So she had actually plotted to kill him. She plotted to kill this TikToker. The TikToker was exposing her because she realized that the credit repair was a fraud. So the TikToker started putting her business out there. Yes. So her, the TikToker, and then there was another person who is actually her competitor, her biggest competitor in the credit repair industry, who, as far as I know, this lady was legitimately successful with her credit repair. Allegedly. I don't know. But that was her biggest competitor. Now, she tried to get her killed. So they had a phone call that was recorded.
No.
So she just got convicted. Like right now she hasn't been sentenced. But girl, when I tell you, you're going to have to look that story up. But I bring up the Ashley Grayson story because anybody that knows the story knows that she had sold a lifestyle via social media to her people. And so people bought into the lifestyle. They didn't really give a damn about the credit repair.
No.
They just wanted to live like she was living.
You're making a lot of money, bet. Let's go.
Again, and so, I mean, this girl had a beautiful home. She had Monica sing at her engagement party.
Whoa.
The singer Monica. Yes. So she's making headlines. There's all this publicity, marketing. Of course, she's got a team. She live in a castle. Girl, beautiful home. But I say all that to say that people were so caught up in her lifestyle that they were willing to buy into her course and believe that they could become just as successful, right? And I say all that to say that that's where we have to realize, okay, what if money is your purpose, if you're just, that means that all them people that got defrauded, I hate to say it, but they was chasing the money. It was the lifestyle that was motivating them. That's what made them buy into it. Now, when I see courses online, I have to think. I don't want to think every person buying a course is scamming, but everybody selling courses ain't had their fingers cut off either. Then, you know what I'm saying? Some people really are investing in their business, right? But when you have that level of material wealth and you are using it to sell a lifestyle, it's there's no purpose in that. I mean, to go back to what we were talking about, like the sprinkle click. Those women who prefer to just be, you know, live the soft life, and all they want is guys with money, and they have to understand that you reap what you sow. So if you're going out there and you are setting an intention to get money, or what you say now, and get money, you have to be fully aware of that there's some consequences to that. And most likely it may not be good. It could be good consequences if you go about it purposefully. But if there's other things that you want to do in life, if that your focus and that endeavor of getting the guy with the money is sometimes going to pull you away from finding your purpose or even walking in your purpose. Whoa. And if that is their only purpose, like you said, some people that's just their purpose, but it's not sustainable. It's very selfish. It's very selfish. I hate to say it. It's one thing to be survival. Like if you're in survival mode and you, I hate to say it again, not talking about any sex workers. If you are a sex worker, I mean, listen, just protect yourself. Okay. I'm not judging you, but some people choose that occupation out of survival mode. And then the lifestyle that people taunt, you know, it makes it glamorous. Like, okay. And again, no judgment, but it becomes the purpose, the lifestyle. It's not really anything that is like necessarily about the greater good. It's really real. I don't want to say selfish, but it's a personal decision, that lifestyle.
It is. I see why you say it's selfish, because you're really just looking out for yourself, right? I want the money to benefit my life. But what about everybody else's life? When you have a purpose, I think 8 times out of 10, your purpose is going to help not only you, but a lot of other people. And that's when
Thank you. Oh, when it's not about you. It's not just about you. Yeah. Do what you got to do with a purpose. Here's another thing I wanted to say. Yes, the people that are getting the money through those type of situations can help their family members, right? Because maybe they do have a steady flow of money coming from these guys, right? And you can help your family, but is it sustainable? Maybe if you take it again, if you're purposeful about it and you're investing it, yeah, you might be able to create something for yourself that could be sustainable. But if you haven't changed your mindset, if you haven't worked on accepting yourself, if you got all this internal baggage that you ain't dealing with, it's not really even going to matter if you do take that and invest it. Because again, you can't really get another purpose until you really get to know you know? But yeah.
I'm reminded of that scripture that says, you can gain the whole world, or what is it to gain the whole world and lose your soul? Mm-hmm. So what is it to have all the money in the world thinking that that's your purpose, right, but you lose your soul? Like you just out here. I mean, I get it though. Money make the world go round.
That's like the dope boys, you know, the guys that are out there that are in the lifestyle, right? A lot of them start out with a purpose to feed their family.
Yep.
It's survival, but they have a purpose. And some of those men are able to get out of the game because they invest. I hate to say it, they wash the money, but they get out. But they have a purpose though. Again, I'm not condoning that. I'm not judging, okay? All I'm saying is that some go in with a purpose and some do it just because it's just cool to do. They don't have a purpose. So then when you know, they get in jail or they get killed behind it or whatever, you might have been taking care of your family, but what good is your family if you're not here? If you're in jail or you're dead behind that, was it really purposeful? Was it really worth it?
Hello?
You know what I'm saying?
That was good. That was good. That was real good.
That's deep. It's real. It's something that people are facing every day. That's why when I see young men that just continue to stay in the game year after year after year, like, I'm from the hood, I understand the drug game. Yeah, I would just say I was around a lot of the drug game coming up in my community. I saw a lot as it relates to the drug game, and when you just see people that are just in it and they don't have any goals, it's just survival. It doesn't end well. I've lost friends. I've seen people go to jail, and I see people whose children, the next generation, don't have, like, they're repeating the cycle. Their kids are now drug dealers because you went to jail, or because that person may have got killed, and now they don't have anything to, they don't have they're just not stable. They're not secure. So they have to do what they got to do. Again, it's just repeating a generational cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. No, that's, I'm happy you shared that, because listen, I think many of us can relate to that.
Yeah.
When you felt bored, lonely, or in need of validation, has remaining true to yourself helped you build and maintain deeper relationships?
I would say yes. I mean, it's definitely helped me. Knowing who I am and staying true to myself has helped me avoid the wrong people, places, and things. And I think when you are avoiding the wrong people, places, and things, it gives you the opportunity to be available for when you do meet people who are aligned, right? That you can make the deeper connection. Like, even in just everyday settings, like, you could be out, at a social event or something, and if you start to discern that, hey, you know what, maybe this isn't a place that I should be in. Maybe I thought initially this was something I wanted to do, but I've got here now. I see, the people are here. The vibe is not, it's not aligning with my spirit. So you have a choice in that moment to stay true to yourself by getting up and walking out. Or you can ignore that gut instinct and stay. And then 9 times out of 10, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10. Let me just say that you may end up in a situation that is not favorable, just because you ignored your gut instinct. So the same goes for, like, for instance, again, I keep on coming back to when we met. If I hadn't been true to myself, I could have been that Lyft driver, just minding my business, not trying to get to know anyone, not open to receive the blessings that, God had in store for me just by connecting with people, right? That was a blessing to be able to experience that. If I hadn't been true to myself, I wouldn't even have seen a blessing in the Lyft other than the money that I was earning. But I saw it so much more. And because I saw it as so much more, when Candace got in my car even though it was a 30, 40 minute ride, but even still, it was enough time. We were able to maximize the time that we had together, because I recognized immediately that, because of my purpose, because I knew who I was, that this was my people. Like, she's my people. She's an example of a person I've been praying to meet. Didn't know what they, she or he were going to look like, but I just knew in my heart that, yeah, this makes sense as to why I'm doing this, to be able to meet individuals, because outside of me driving Lyft, I don't know if we ever would have encountered each other.
Jesus.
And I just think, like, dang, if I was driving and just, like, wasn't focused on a purpose, didn't feel like I had a purpose, and just my purpose, if money was my purpose, I would have missed out on the blessing of having your friendship, the sisterhood, this partnership, and doing this podcast.
And I honestly don't think I would have seen you.
Yeah.
I don't. Because I've connected. Do you know how I've gotten on many rides, mainly Uber rides. And I have connected with people. But it did not lead to this. I have to ask Angie, like, am I dreaming?
Right.
Because this just doesn't happen. All the time, you know.
That's why I kept telling you. That's why I keep telling Candace, like, "Hey, girl, it's bigger than us. It's so much bigger than us." Because when we both work jobs, we have other things going on outside of the podcast. But for us to both be committed and it not feel like work, to know that every effort that we put in and that we contribute together is creating something that it's not even about us. It's bigger than us. And we don't know what that is going to look like. We're walking by faith, and we're using the gifts that God gave us. And we're recognizing the blessing in meeting one another. It was like, listen, I can't take credit. I can't either. And then for my daughter, you know, she is very, she doesn't play about me. And if she's not feeling somebody, she's going to let me know. And she said, Mommy, I like Miss Candace. She feels comfortable with Miss Candace.
I love you too, my Candace.
And, you know, and she also, like, nobody that I brought around my daughter really could relate to me as far as my purpose and have the work ethic. And have the creativity.
You got me beat on the work ethic. I'm trying to catch up with her.
See, she don't let me see that, but at the same time, it's like, you can say that, but I don't see that. That's the crazy thing. Like,
okay, well,
you can say that, but I don't see that.
Girl.
But yeah, it's just, oh, y'all, it's a blessing. It is a beautiful thing. I wish this for everyone. And in these type of experiences in your life come about when you are true to yourself.
Jesus.
Yeah. And this is the first time in my life that I'm experiencing this. So this is how I know. This is proof that is what's for you. Who is for you? Whether that's a friend, a business partner, a spouse, a job, whatever is for you, it is really for you. It really is for you. And you will not know how and when it's going to show up. You don't know how, when, or what it's going to look like. But if you're walking in your purpose, you're going to know. And we can now say from our own living experience, don't do it. She don't do it. Lord Jesus. The tissue. Lord, I'm gonna let you get it. Is it working?
She being stingy with me too.
Oh my goodness, Candace.
I ain't gonna let him fall.
No, but yeah, it's something that I would want everybody to experience in their life. And I think that is like the true, I don't want to say the true meaning of our life, but I think that that's how we can really live a life on purpose and authentic. And it's those type of blessings that are intangible that you can't even imagine. We hear those things all the time, but until you actually experience it, you won't know. So I'm thankful. I thank God that I have experienced this and I can share this and help other people to, this is not the end. There's going to be more. You're going to encounter situations outside of us. As you're walking in your purpose, you're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to align yourself. And God has other blessings out there with your name on it that you don't even know. No. Don't have a clue. And I believe the same for myself. I thank God. I thank God for you.
Thank God for you.
Oh, I'm just like, look, now my eyes.
I know. I've got to blow my nose.
God. When I tell you, it just goes to show, like, this is what they talk about, testimony.
Right? Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's not crazy. It just feels surreal.
Yeah. When you realize, I'm telling you, that's the crazy part. It's like, that's why I just said, in every aspect of your life, it's a friendship, a job, like, same thing. Like, when you, like, I was telling you about my job earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was in alignment. If I didn't know who I was, if I didn't know what I was standing on, if I didn't know, have my values in place, I wouldn't even recognize the opportunity that I have there. I wouldn't even recognize how blessed I am, but it's in every aspect of our lives, it can show up that way when you're walking your purpose. Same thing with, I give an example. Shout out to Terry Donnell, shout out to Kevin Townley Productions, y'all. I was just featured in a movie. My first speaking role in a movie. And that is an example. Let me tell you, I have met this sister on the set of The First Wives Club 2 years ago. And we connected. We were in a scene together and connected, and we exchanged information. And then we followed each other on social media. Now, she's a Christian, so of course I'm seeing her post and I'm liking her post. I'm support whatever she's doing. I'm showing her that I see her and I haven't forgot about her. Yes. And she's doing the same for me, right? Well, out of nowhere, like 2 months ago, what is this? Yeah, 2 months ago, she hits me up like, yo, there's a movie right now. There's a role I don't know if you'd be interested in. But it was just like from 2 years prior, us meeting, I didn't know that would have, 2 years later, she would be reaching out to me for my first speaking role. What? And it's like, this is a sister. This is how you, listen, when I tell you, when you're aligned, you will attract your people because it's not forced. It don't feel forced. It's like, I was so thankful, and I still am. And we actually are going to the conference that they're doing. We're actually going to be attending next week. That's her conference.
Yes. We're going to be there. I'm going to be there. I already got my ticket.
Looking forward to it. Yes. It's called She Moves.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is going to air probably after, like this episode.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But the point I'm trying to make is that connection, again, is one of those, God send, like, that role was for me.
Yes.
That role was for me. I didn't even know that role was going to be for me, but he will definitely align you. Because, what I'm feeling is that God is just like, you just have to continue to be patient. Like,
just wait.
Because when you go rushing and trying to,
that's when you encounter problems.
Thank you.
Or you don't feel at peace. How do you know you're not really walking in your purpose?
When you ended up in the wrong places with the wrong people and wrong situations and repeating lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you repeat lessons, that's how you know that you're not being intentional. Because when you're intentional, who is going to intentionally go through the same bull crap again and again and again?
Right.
You can't control what other people do. And that's why I said, it doesn't matter. You could be walking in your purpose and be intentional and still encounter people who are misleading.
Right.
They're not showing up as who they are. They're showing up as who they want you to believe that they are.
Right.
Right? So you're able to discern that a lot quicker. And when you pivot, you don't feel a loss. This is what I was saying. You don't feel a loss. You feel like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I didn't waste no time.
Dodged a bullet.
There you go. But that's the beauty in it. When you think about it, if our goal, we can't control other people, but if our goal is to not have our time wasted and to allow our time to be like the time that we spend together is never a waste.
No.
It's so valuable. So in order to be able to do that, that means that you are going to have to pivot a lot quicker from the people who don't align. Same thing with the workplace. I love my coworkers. I have been invited out a couple times. I tried to go out one time, and I probably will, for building camaraderie. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to keep them boundaries. Like, okay, we're just hanging out because we work together and we just want to kick back and have, a drink or go to karaoke or whatever the case is. But as far as like just completely emerging or, what do you call it? Intertwining your personal life with your work relationship. Like, you don't have to do that. Yep. Now, if you bond with someone on that level, again, you may encounter someone on the job who is assigned to be a part of your life, but you'll know. But you just have to be okay with having your people in those, what do you call them? Those associations and keeping them separate from, your core of what you're doing if it doesn't just align.
Boundary.
We talked about a lot on this episode, you all. Boredom, loneliness, and validation, BLV. Don't get caught up with that BLV. Listen, listen, that sounds like something you do not want, y'all.
You don't want no BLV.
Don't get caught up with the BLV, because I'm telling you.
Syndrome?
Yes, BLV syndrome. You're just going to keep on finding yourself in the wrong circumstances, wrong places, with the wrong people. So, again, I always like to try to have a call to action or a challenge for our viewers. Your challenge is to recognize, going forward, when you are acting out of boredom or loneliness or validation. And there may be situations, or people that you have in your life right now that are there because it started out as I was bored. Reevaluate and pivot, And as the more aligned, the more you get to know yourself, the more aligned you become with your purpose, you can walk away from those situations gracefully. Doesn't have to be a fallout. Doesn't have to be, now they may not be happy. Let's just say people ain't going to be happy when you start becoming more true to yourself. But when you do it respectfully and gracefully and with intention, your intention is not to hurt them. Your intention is not to abandon them. Your intention is to walk more alignedly with who you are, more closely with who you are. So yeah, Candace, you have any closing remarks you want to say?
Just have the courage to be yourself, because there are great things ahead and the best is truly yet to come. But I need you to be yourself.
And the people that are meant to be in your life, they will see you, they will appreciate you. And I just thank God for Miss Candace. I thank God for her. We all deserve to have those type of relationships, so I really do wish, that people will be able to encounter, because you hear all the time, there's people out here, people don't care anymore. That's not true. That's not true. And I hate to hear that. I know it may feel that way, but we also have to start taking accountability and asking ourselves, why do we keep encountering these type of people, these type of situations? It really does fall back on ourselves. So you don't have to be alone. You don't have to feel lonely, even if you are physically alone. That's kind of something I wanted to leave y'all with too. Just remember that just because you are alone does not mean that you are lonely. And if you find yourself in a situation that you're bored and you do decide to entertain a person or situation, just have your purpose in mind. And that's the word right there. Let your purpose be your guide. Absolutely. So we hope that you all have enjoyed this episode. We are all about helping people discover themselves and discover their purpose. So we hope that you guys will share, subscribe, comment. Let us know in the comments, if you found yourself in a situation where you were bored or you felt lonely and you end up in the wrong situation. Let us know about it. We would love to hear from you. Our episodes will be coming out weekly, every Sunday at 7 p.m. As always, we just want to remind you that it is okay to be pretty.
And even better to be pretty purposeful.
Bye.
Wasting all my life.